This is Vigilante, and I'm James Farley, the Vigilante. Wasilla. I'd like to basically set the record straight for all Alaskans that Wasilla does not represent the average Alaskan philosophy, ideology, or general outlook on life. As I've mentioned before, Wasilla is a small little town on the edge of a very big town of Anchorage, very big for Alaska, and it doesn't represent the realities of what the real Alaska is all about. Like this whole thing where Wasilla thinks it's a good idea to charge rape victims for their examination, the rape exam. I can't even understand the concept. It's completely inconceivable. I mean, I don't understand the whole logic or the whole thought process or whatever that goes in to that kind of thing. I mean, you know, as an Alaskan, I can tell you that we treat women very well in Alaska. Equality is very high on everybody's kind of mind there. It's the only state in the Union that has more men than women. So, as you can imagine, women that are in Alaska, Alaskan women, are highly prized and highly regarded just by their scarcity alone. And to think that we, you know, Alaskans, would put women into such a horrible and despicable situation where we would say, like, yeah, we could take that you know, criminal you know, complaint, but you're gonna have to pony over a grand before we do your examination because you know, I don't know, I don't even understand the concept. How do you rationalize it? You know, if you were shot, they're not gonna charge you for your forensics on the bullet hole or you know, that kind of thing. If you get robbed, they're not going to charge you for fingerprints. If you do some other crime, they're not going to charge you for taking down your statement. I mean, I just don't understand it. There's no precedent for it. It's completely inconceivable. The only excuse, the only kind of rationalization that I can imagine, and the only reason that the only city, you know, town, village in all of Alaska that didn't want to do this, didn't want to actually, you know, pay for you know, full criminal investigations of these crimes, is religion. You know, they got the wacky you know, Assembly of God out there. They got the prophesizing going on, speaking in tongues and all that stuff. And the only thing I can think of, the only rationalization that I can believe that any sane person could possibly come up with, is that it's something like it's the will of God. If you get raped, it's the will of God. So, you know, it really doesn't matter if, you know, who did it or why or, you know, finding justice. It's the will of God. I mean, and so we don't really want to, you know, investigate it. If you get raped, it must have been, you know, you were doing something bad, like all those people that think that, you know, New Orleans is an evil place and that's why it was hit by the, you know, hurricane, or, you know, some other place is bad and that's why they have the earthquake. So, you know, if you get raped, it's like a personal thing. You know, you're bad personally, so, you know, a horrible tragedy happens to you, and we don't want to pay for it. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. It's bizarre. And to think that, you know, Sarah Palin, which seems like, you know, fairly reasonable, alert, you know, mayor, would not know that this is going on in her own city, is another one of those kind of inconceivable kind of things. The McCain, you know, the McCain campaign and Palin campaign have come out and already said that she is completely against this. You know, she does not think that rape victims should pay for their own, you know, investigation of their own crime against them. And yet it was being headed up, and the only place in all of Alaska that was against this was Wasilla, and her police chief was the one, you know, crusading the idea that they should pay, that the rape victims should pay. And, you know, either they're completely lying again right in our faces and saying like, oh, she didn't know, come on, she didn't know, she had no idea this was going on. And she completely supports, you know, this whole complete opposite of what her police chief was, you know, espousing. Either we believe that, or she's a complete idiot and didn't know what was going on in her own city. That's the only other explanation, which I find that hard to believe too. I mean, here's a woman who is so power hungry. When she gets in, she wants to ban books from the library, you know, ones that she finds offensive. And when the librarian says, you know, I'm kind of against the old banning of books. I think I'm doing a pretty good job of picking books and making sure none of them are pornographic or, you know, somehow completely objectionable. and she wants to fire the librarian. You know, you're not supporting my policies. I want you out of there. That's my right as the mayor. Okay, maybe it's your right as the mayor, but you also have the right to, you know, get your police chief under control too. And apparently that didn't seem to make her list. She was more concerned about banning books and firing the city librarian than she was, you know, getting justice for her, you know, for victims of crime. It's fucking crazy. I can't. I mean, it disappoints me in all of Alaska, even the people in Wasilla. But just for the record, Alaskans not like Wasilla. Wasilla, strange little place, suburb, you know, close to the big city, but kind of far away, so they can do their own talking tongues and rituals or whatever. Rest of Alaska, peace-loving, good people who value women highly, and don't have some sort of strange religion that, you know, kind of warps their view of reality, so that, you know, they don't look at practical things. They look only at things through the lens of, you know, your religion. As vigilantes, I want you to make sure that when a victim, any victim of any crime, anywhere, is being persecuted or oppressed, or being told that your crime isn't, you know, important enough, graffiti, not important enough, this, not important enough, that, not important enough, say, bullshit, it is important. All crimes should be treated equally, and they should all be paid for by the people, the police department, and the people who are investigating the crimes. It should not be up to the victim to pay for one little iota of anything. And any police chief or city council or mayor that espouses anything different, you gotta make sure they are out of there. We don't want any kind of safe haven crimes where it's like, well, it's okay if you know, rape the poor girl because she can't afford the, you know, the investigation. That is not acceptable in a modern society. Maybe back in the Middle Ages or some bullshit like that. But now, won't play, no how. James Farley from Vigilante Center. Vigilante!